And we are live. It has just gone 8 o'clock. And here we are. It's Sunday. And of course, we are doing more Doctor Who. And this week, we are doing the episode Dalek from Series 1, starring Christopher Eccleston and Billy Piper. Joining me tonight is Chris. Say hello, Chris.
Hello, Chris.
There we go, as usual. And somebody else who was joining us, my son, Chandler. Say hello, Chandler.
Good morning.
So, we're going to start with Dalek, and it's quite interesting because this episode, when it first came back, it had been a 17-year gap between Dalek stories. And I think that what was done really well was the fact that we ended on a really good Dalek story, and we started on a really good Dalek story. So it was a real nice because we ended the classic series really with Remembrance of the Daleks, and then we started with Dalek. So and it's good to see that Ian's here as well. Hello, Ian. What are your memories? I'm going to come to you, Chris, first. What are your memories of seeing this episode for the first time?
Right. Rewind.
Let's go back 15 years now, yeah.
Well, obviously, like we've discussed for most of this series, both my boys were under the age of 10, so they were prime for picking, and they got the second small wave of Dalek mania. So when we knew the title of this one, this was the big one for them. I don't think it disappointed. I remember there was a bit of hoo-ha leading up to it with this state of Terry Nation and stuff like that, and whether they were going to have one, whether they weren't going to have one. And I was interested to see if they were going to ruin the look of the Dalek. And
are we going to get on to talking about that in a little bit? So before we start the episode, we will come back to that. But I mean, what was your overall impression when you finished seeing the episode?
I loved it. I thought it was absolutely superb. The way they played it was brilliant. It had a nice twist, which obviously we'll get to. Yeah, it's as I said last week, this is probably my favourite episode of this series. So we'll see if that stands true at the end of it.
Yeah. All right, cheers, Chris. Chandler.
Hello.
I think it's fair to say that you're probably more of a Sylvester McCoy fan.
Yeah, actually. Especially like the later two seasons of McCoy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So what do you remember when you first saw Dalek? Because obviously, I know every time that you've been over visiting and staying and that, but anytime we've gone through another bit of a Doctor Who fest, we've done some really good Dalek stories. I know we've covered quite a bit. So, but what do you really remember when seeing this?
Right. Well, I mean, obviously, for the first, I think the first time I saw Dalek was actually with you because I'd missed it on the original airing, and the reason for that was I was 6 years old when Doctor Who came back to TV, and obviously, I'd never heard of Doctor Who. I didn't know what it was. But I watched the first episode of Rose, and I watched End of the World, and then when Unquiet Dead came out, I was done. That was it. Scared the hell out of me. I was, so I didn't get back onto Doctor Who until season 2. Then, like Tooth and Claw, I think was the next episode I watched. So I had to go back and rewatch all the Eccleston episodes like a little bit later, like still, like over a decade ago now, but like still, So my memories about it are vaguely fuzzy, but I do remember, like the first time I ever saw Dalek was probably this episode. And I remember thinking, man, this thing is mean.
Yeah.
This thing is like, it's just a tank thing and it'll just kill everything. And the fact that, like, we'll get into certain bits, but the fact that, like, the Doctor was afraid of it was something new and weird because he's such a, intelligent character. He seems to know everything. And this is the one thing that seemed to, like, get under his skin. I've seen a couple of classic Who episodes now. I mean, I've seen probably most of the Dalek stories from classic Who. And, I think Remembrance of the Daleks is probably my favorite Dalek story overall. Mm-hmm. But Dalek, I don't know, it might actually be a toss-up between the two of them because I really like the threat level in this episode.
Yeah. No, Remembrance of the Daleks, I think, is a great episode. It's probably my favorite Dalek story. It genuinely is. It does it so well, and it's set in a great time period. It's set in November 23rd, 1963, which for some reason is an important date in Doctor Who calendar.
I've heard it somewhere, yeah.
But I think what I like with Dalek overall, right, is that over the years people have taken the mick out of Daleks. They've called them pepper pots. They've done all this stuff. The thing is, though, I never looked at a Dalek that way. To me, a Dalek was a one-man tank. That's all I've seen. Because it's this thing that you can't shoot because it doesn't matter if you shoot. It doesn't care. You can't, you could throw grenades at it and it'll probably survive. And it's got this damn gun on it that'll kill anything for miles. So it was this.
That's right.
It's just this unstoppable force. And it looked like this armored, heavy tank. So when they brought back Dalek in this episode, I think what was great about it was the fact that they didn't treat anything lightly. Like the severity of the Doctor's reaction to what a Dalek is, and when he sees it, his reaction is, it's going to kill us all. So, and everything is treated like there's no all the they do this in the Moffat era more than they do in the Russell T Davies era, and that is that in the Moffat era they'll call them pepper pots, they'll call them these garbage cans, they'll call them they talk about egg whisks and all plungers and stuff like that. That doesn't happen in this story. They are treated with the utmost severity in this story. I mean, there's the only line is really, what are you going to do, sucker me to death? And guess what?
Then it does suck us to death.
so it's kind of thing. Let's see what Ian's saying. I watched this with friends who used to take the piss out of Doctor Who. Remember being grateful it wasn't rubbish and the Daleks were treated seriously. Friends really liked it too. I mean, you can take any villain as ridiculous as they are, and you've got two ways of treating them. And the way is that you either take it seriously, and the more ridiculous something is, the more serious you have to take it. And that's what worked particularly with the Tom Baker era. Because you've got to remember, when Tom Baker was Doctor, he was dealing with less than convincing visual effect props. When they done like Ark in Space, they were dealing with people dressed in big bug outfits. He had to treat it at such a level of no, this thing is deadly, this thing is serious, but that's what worked with it. You can't treat something. If you're going to try to convince the audience that you're serious, then you need to take it serious. And with Dalek, that's exactly what they do. And by the way, this is also, I know I made mention of the fact that this is the returning episode and off the back of Remembrance of the Daleks. If you remember Remembrance of the Daleks, the Doctor talks the Dalek to death. And in this episode, it's Rose that talks the Dalek to death.
Yeah, I suppose so.
But here's the thing. It doesn't work when the Doctor does it. The Doctor tries. The Doctor tries to convince the Dalek from the previous... So it's kind of like... they've acknowledged what he did in Remembrance and gone, no, it doesn't work this time. And I would say the other thing about this episode as well is that this is the first time, with 6 episodes into the new run, this is the first time they acknowledge the classic series. Because you won't remember this, Jan. You won't remember this, but at the time when they done the original run in 2005, nobody knew, because they didn't say whether or not this was a continuation or this was there was a kind of the implication that he was the 9th Doctor, but he was 9th Doctor off the fact that we'd had 8 before. But there was no,
I guess it was sort of like a reboot almost.
Yeah. So nobody really knew whether or not they were actually acknowledging original continuity. So this was the first episode that really went, no, it is. And it wasn't even the fact that it was the Daleks. It was the fact that they had in the Revenge of the Cybermen Cyberhead.
Yeah.
That's what the link was, because the Daleks had been redone. The Daleks had been re-blinged. And talking of re-blinging, we need to be. Chris made mention of this just now, and I said we would talk about it. I don't know if you've seen it, but this design of Dalek was not the first design of Dalek to come out since the classic series. There was in 1994.
It was one. Yeah.
In 1994, some bloke by the name of Steven Spielberg was going to make Doctor Who movie, and
The little
and they were talking about several things, and one of the things was the Spider Dalek.
Yeah.
No,
I've heard of that.
No, there's a couple of thoughts on this. Okay, one is that the Dalek is not the machine; the Dalek is the thing inside. So I'm okay with the outside being different. I'm okay with that. As proof of my conviction, I don't mind the new Paradigm Daleks. I don't mind them. They're a bit colourful, a bit Power Ranger-y, but I don't mind them. But that being said, I kind of like the Sentinel Daleks that show up in the Time War. You know, the ones that come flying down in the pods and start attacking the ground. They're totally different to normal Daleks. So if you watch Day of the Doctor and you see these pods, these like flying turrets coming down, they've got the special weapons Daleks. So you've got all these different types. Yeah, Ian, not the Spider Daleks. Yeah, we've got to talk about it because this is the first time the Daleks come back. So when they did do that, I mean, what are your thoughts? Because if you look at the design of Daleks, you can go as far out as you possibly can. But where do you stand on the Dalek design? Because, and I'll ask you both this, because bear in mind that the exterior is just the shell and the interior is the creature inside is the Dalek. So how far away from the classic Dalek shape are you willing to go? Or are you just like stuck with this must be how it is?
I don't mind how they go with it, but for me, it's got to have the dome top with the two lights and the eye stalk. As long as that figures into it somewhere, because that's the quintessential Dalek thing. They can build any ship around that. They can build that dome as big as they like and build it as big as a football pitch. As long as that dome's there, because that's the quintessential thing. You see that and you think, oh, that's a Dalek. If they change that, I mean, if the last one was it Resolution, the Christmas festive period one from the year before last, or whatever, last year's one. Even though that built its own suit that was like slimmer, it still had the proper Dalek look about it, and I think that's the important thing to keep. Other than that, I don't mind. I mean, a spider Dalek with robotic legs would be fine. If they start changing the way the creature looks inside, then we're back to rubber frogs, and that's the truth of the matter.
Yeah, and you, Chad?
Actually, I think you're onto something there. I think, as long as it's I think there's a certain level of iconography that you need with the Dalek because it's so long-lasting. But they have been redesigned in several ways. You know what I mean? So I think obviously the dome, the light, the eye stalk, that's pretty much it. I would also include the eggs. The sphere things that go into the bottom.
Yeah.
Because they tend to feature a lot in Dalek design. But then again, you do get occasional ones that, obviously, the Emperor Dalek does have those things. But then you've got, the Special Weapons Dalek from Remembrance, which is a one-off.
So
that's a different thing.
He just said, have you seen the Marsh Daleks with really long legs? Yeah, I mean, I've seen different designs done, especially with from fan art as well, with lots of different variations on Daleks. And you've got submarine Daleks. See, I don't think you need a submarine Dalek because we've seen Daleks go underwater before. They can go out into space,
right? So
yeah, and they can go, but we've seen them come out of water. It's one of the famous shots of the Dalek coming out of the Thames. It's in the Dalek Invasion of Earth.
Yeah.
He's got 2 eye stalks. I don't know if 2 eye stalks would do a Dalek any good. It's only got 1 eye. I mean, it could. I don't know, but I mean, there's all these different variations of Daleks. So I think there's room for the Spider Dalek. It depends on how you use it, because you're looking at like a special weapons, like from Remembrance of the Daleks, you got the special weapons Dalek with the massive cannon that ends up blowing the doors.
I think that Spider Dalek could work for me if the legs come out from halfway up the tank body shell, the traver. Was it called the Travelator or something they called them?
Yeah.
It comes from halfway up that, and the legs look like Terminator fingers with a round joints, because I think that'd fit in with all the other shapes that are on the Dalek.
I tell you what, the reason why I brought it up as well is because there's something that I'm going to mention now, which is going to come up in the episode, and it's the fact that, do you remember City of Death?
Just about. That's the one. Is that the one set in Holland?
Paris.
Paris. Well, somewhere off the continent. Yeah. Vaguely.
But anyway, in City of Death, there's the ship which is the Jagroth spaceship, and it very much looks like it's kind of a round sphere with legs, and it reminded me of I'm trying to think now. I think Star Wars Episode 2. There are these walking things with cannons on that are on the battlefield that start shooting when the war kicks off. And it just made me think Jagroth spaceship crossed with a Dalek. And I thought, well, that's kind of what it looks like. But the reason why I bring it up is the Jagroth spaceship is because I think it pops up in this episode in Henry Van Statten's museum.
Ah, right.
With a couple of other things. But before we get to the episode, there are a couple of things I want to get done, because I meant to mention them last week and I didn't mention them last week, so I'm going to mention them this week. And that is a couple of things that we might have brought up before. I don't know if we have, but there is the Big Finish audio series with Rose Tyler, played by Billy Piper and Camille Coduri, and also in there is Mark Benton. And the story is called Rose Tyler Dimension Canon, and it's a 4-part story, and it's set in the alternate universe. And the reason why I brought that up is because I wanted to bring it up from last week, and the reason why I totally forgot about it, and the way I wanted to bring it up was because Mark Benton comes back and he's playing the character of Clive again, and we were all talking about how they could bring back Clive from Spearhead from Space, Rose. What do you call it? Conspiracy theorist nut. And I was like, how could you bring him back? And they just solved it in this episode and just went, he's from the other universe.
Oh, right.
It's like, how do you bring him back? He's already back. He's just working for the other, and he's in the episode Dimension Canon. So there's that. It's a 4-part story. I haven't heard it yet, but I saw the trailer for it. It's like, oh, that's quite good. Because like in the trailer, Rose Tyler just goes, Clive, I just imagined that you'd be a conspiracy nut and working out of a shed. And it's just like, that's nice. That's kind of nice. Like, so there's that. Also, it's worth bringing up as well, is that I don't know if you've seen this, but on YouTube, there is a short video which is a brand new extended story with Arthur Darvill as Rory, and he did it specially.
I haven't seen it, no.
Yeah, and he's got special guest star Karen Gillan. It's written by Neil Gaiman, and the episode is it's only a couple of minutes long. It's basically dealing with Rory and Amy in 1946, and he's using his smartphone to make a video for River. So he's kind of like it's just him doing this sort of small thing. It's a really nice, lovely little thing. And what's lovely about it is the fact that some of the things that he throws into it are little things and like little Easter eggs. And like one of the things is that they're surviving a lot by they make mention of the fact that they're making a lot of money out of selling their melody porn books, which is just, it doesn't get brought up. It's one of those little callbacks. We've been mentioned this before, whereby Doctor Who isn't very good at acknowledging its own universe. It's not very good at going back and doing callbacks to different, to make it inclusive. Like, for example, just to give you another good example of that, of where it's done better, recently I watched the Fearless ones on Blu-ray. And in the Fearless ones, it's just smeared with callbacks. Like, and I'll tell you how good some of the callbacks are. In one of the things where they leave in the airport door, there's a wanted sign on the door, and it says wanted, and it's got a picture of Roger Delgado. And underneath that, but here's the best part, underneath that, this is how late they were with production. It's got wanted, and it's got a picture of Sacha Dhawan underneath it.
Nice.
So you've got the two masters there. But you've also got, as they walk through the airport, when they go around the airport, they've got different things. They've got different adverts. And one of them is an advert for Magpie Electronics. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, why isn't Doctor Who doing this? Why is it just the I don't want to say the fan-made stuff, but the people who are working on these productions are fans. They clearly are. I think I made mention to you before, Chris, that on the when Jamie picks up the newspaper, one of the adverts on the newspaper is for Marinus padlocks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just clever stuff. So anyway, I just wanted to get all that out of the way because they are things that I wanted to mention before. So there's the Rose Tyler Dimension canon, and there's the new video with Arthur Darvill as Rory, and guest starring the voice of, because obviously isolation, Karen Gillan as Amy Pond. So that's pretty much it. Unless anybody's got anything more to add, I'm pretty much almost ready to start.
No, it's fine. I was just letting you roll. You were on one then.
I had to get out of it because I totally forgotten all about it. I made notes this week to make sure that I didn't forget. So,
that's almost professional, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm sure if I come up with something,
anything except amateur. So we're gonna start this year now, but there's a lot of it only gets seen briefly. There's a lot of Easter eggs in this opening scene. Okay? So the TARDIS is about to land inside Henry Van Statten's museum, and you need to keep your eyes peeled for a lot of things. If you look where the TARDIS lands, you will notice, and you'll see it only a couple of times briefly on screen, and this explains a lot about how the universe works. There is a xenomorph egg in the background. So, Facehuggers Alien is clearly set in the Doctor Who universe. I'm just saying. Also, one of the creatures. I
always thought it was,
One of the creatures in one of the containers, and this is a theory that's been checked out there by fans, and I'm not going to dismiss it at all. You get one close up of it, and one person postulated that it said, I don't know what that creature is, but if I'm going to say anything, it looks an awful lot like Prisoner Zero. Now, we know it's not Prisoner Zero, but there's no reason why it couldn't be part of the same species. And when you see it, I think you'll go, oh, yeah, that's where they're coming from. So, anyway, we're 24 minutes in without starting the episode. I think we better start. So, I'm getting ready to go. I've got everything queued up. I'm going to be pressing play in 3, 2, 1, play. And now Netflix is having a mare. Oh, there we go. BBC, not too bad. BBC television program. TARDIS is landing. Wow, somebody's TV's up loud.
That might be me.
It feels like I'm in the TARDIS. No, I want to tell you this as well. We will get... There it is.
Oh, that thing kind of looks like Prison Zero.
Yeah. So, right behind where Christopher Eccleston is standing now, there's the xenomorph egg. And when he moves out the way, you will see it. There's the Jaguar spaceship over on the far left.
There's like a macro in the corner over there.
There's an old series, classic series Silurian. And there it is, Revenge of the Cybermen, Cyberhead.
I don't think I actually knew what the Cybermen were when I first saw this episode. But I'm not sure if the Russell T Davies one came out before I'd seen this.
Yeah, there's the egg, look. Plain view. Literally the centre of the screen.
Yeah.
Here we go. There it is, right behind the soldiers.
Now, I get that the line come up here is a good line. But why would you say it?
Which line?
You know what I mean? Why would you say that in front of a bunch of armed soldiers? Like, I get it's a good line, like the show, I guess, but like...
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah. So,
do you want him in a glass
when
case? What are you doing?
When they start here, we're going to get the helicopter coming down, which it says Bad Wolf 1 descending. It may be Bad Wolf 1 descending, but it's actually Blue Thunder. It's not even like Blue Thunder. It actually is Blue Thunder. And I know that because there were only 2 helicopters made that looks like that, and they were both Blue Thunder. You can even see the red pinstriping on the side.
I don't know what that is.
Blue Thunder was a movie starring Roy Scheider, yeah. And it was also a TV show, which lasted for 1 series.
Oh, come on.
Starring Dana Carvey and Bubba Smith.
Oh, guys, that's a horrible
So,
fate. That is a fate worse than death.
Now we've got Corey Johnson playing Henry Van Satten, and we've got Anna Plowman playing was it?
Right.
Right. So here's the thing though. When she came on this thing, a lot of people just went, "Oh my God, it's Osiris from Stargate SG-1." The only bad thing about that is the fact that she's been in, at this point, 38 episodes of Holby City. So,
A job's a job.
worth noting as well, Corey Johnson's ex-wife, Lucy, plays Captain Jack's daughter in Children of Earth.
So that isn't like the first time we've seen the point of view of a Dalek, is it?
No, we've seen
we see it in Remembrance of the Daleks, I remember. And yeah.
Yeah, no, we've seen it several times. One of my sci-fi pet peeves is in this, and a pet hates, not even a peeve, I hate it. And it's the damn transparent computer screen. I bloody well hate it. Along with free-floating holograms. It just hurts. It hurts my teeth. That's how much I hate it. Also, worth noting as well, the guy there, Bruno Langley, playing Adam. I was like, I wonder if he's done anything else, because I can't remember seeing him in anything else. And he's currently done 737 episodes of Coronation Street.
It's nothing to show off about, really, is it?
I mean, he's been in there since since the year 2000.
Paycheck, that isn't it?
So he's been in it for
Definitely a paycheck.
I mean, Yeah. Corey Johnson, of course, I mean, always a working actor. He's in absolutely everything. Probably best known for the Bourne Ultimatum, Bourne films, and definitely Kingsman. Particularly the fight scene in the church.
Oh yeah.
He's in Bond films. He's in everything. He works with because he's one of these actors that just does. He does TV shows, does movies. He'll take whatever job it is. He's just a through and through working actor. He actually looks better now than he does there. He's lost a bit of weight and he's kind of in shape. I mean, we talked a little bit about it last week, where I made mention of how Russell T Davies era makes good, memorable villains, memorable characters in general, and Van Staten has to be a memorable villain.
Oh, for sure. Like, I think there are like subtle layers to him every now and then. Like he gets a little moment, but he is a really memorable, like, just basically.
So what I like with Van Staten,
personality, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, what I like with Van Staten is that on any level that you want to classify him, yes, he's a bad guy. Yes, he's against the Doctor, and he's clearly a dick. But he kind of has a point. Like, they're in Utah, right? They're in Utah. They're not far from Salt Lake City. So those are the laws. The Doctor comes in to his place. He technically breaks into his place and causes this trouble.
Yeah, but that's the Doctor's MO, isn't it?
But that's what I'm saying. The Doctor is an invading alien. He's an intruding alien. There it is, yeah.
It is the best Dalek design, like, in my opinion. And I know it could just be because I grew up with it. But it just looks meaner.
So they actually went with this because they wanted to look metal.
Yeah, exactly.
And they wanted to look. I mean, it's what they call the Time Lord Dalek. I love it. Sure. It's a small thing, but I really, really love the Dalek glyph along the front. There's actual colored writing along the front of the Dalek.
Oh, the little thing under the dome.
Yeah, see under the ice dock. That's okay. Yeah, Bruno sacked for indecent assault or rape. Oh, not a good shot. Ooh. No, you haven't ruined the episode at all. But, I mean, look, how many actors turn out to be pricks like Kevin Spacey, for Christ's sake? But yeah, you've got some real good actors there. I mean, here's the thing: almost every one of those actors have been in Holby City. Almost every one of those actors have been. I think aside from Christopher Eccleston, they've all done. I mean, Anna Plowman, she's actually a New Zealand actor. So, but yeah, she's.
You know, I found it really interesting. First time I think I saw this scene. Sorry if I cut you off. My internet's been a little bit tricky. But the first time I saw this scene, it was like the first time I'd ever seen the Doctor be like really angry, like properly, like, you know, someone will die and he'll be like, oh, you know, that is a shame, that's a bad thing. Yeah. But this is the first time I've ever seen him, and obviously this is because like I watched New Who before I watched Classic, so I don't know if there's any like connection there. But this really kind of took me off guard, I think, the first time I watched this.
I think no, the Doctor's been angry plenty of times. I mean, but I mean, this is the Doctor being wounded. This is a wounded Doctor.
Very, very wounded Doctor.
Yeah, he's literally just come back from the Time War, and he has been through hell. Literally through hell.
Safe to say, he's a little bit cheesed off.
I mean, there are contradictions with the character in this. And by the way, I don't know if you know this, but when this episode came out, there are a couple of small, subtle sexual references in the episode, and they were all overlooked because they thought that the Doctor torturing the Dalek to death was worse. So, even though it's a fictional creature,
it is a little bit graphic, to be fair. Like I get given the context, but considering the time this aired, like a time of day, like the protagonist torturing anyone, even if they are essentially space facts, it's still kind of.
but again, this is what I like about Van Staten. Van Staten has a point, though. Because he even says to the Dark later on that he doesn't know. He doesn't know. Like, he's been an arse, and he's using things to benefit himself. But he's a self-made man. He's got there via nefarious and shady methods, but all of it's been above. There's no.
I disagree. I think he's a 100% bad guy. He's torturing things. He's like locking stuff up. Like, clearly sentient creatures.
But
he's trying to like torture that Dalek into talking to him,
But he hasn't been able to get the Dalek to talk. As far as you can tell, the Dalek's made of metal. That's why he called it a Metaltron.
Yeah,
it's clearly screaming. And Simmons knows it's screaming because he tells him that it's screaming.
Yeah. But what? So what? Like, bear in mind, he's in Utah. So what are the hunting laws like in Utah? Because it's a creature. It's not human. It's not even from Earth.
Yeah, so that doesn't mean it's ethical.
Nobody said it's ethical. I didn't say say it was ethical at all. But he has a point that everything that he has there is his property, and this alien has come in and is screwing around.
I do have one question about this. Are we supposed to like this Adam character? Because I don't, and I never have. So, I'm glad he lasts one episode, like after this.
Here's the thing. When it comes to Adam, I kind of saw the twist coming. Because obviously, like you might know, Chan, I'm pretty good and quite a bit of a fan of Hong Kong cinema. And one of the ploys of a Hong Kong cinema, normally in almost every Hong Kong cinema movie, is that you always have the bad guy and somebody who's a traitor. And the traitor is often somebody who's the best friend. And this guy's working his way in, and it's just like, no.
Yeah.
That's what I see.
It's kind of like negative universe Mickey. It's like if Mickey ended up like it's, I guess, a companion cautionary tale. You know what I mean? I think if anything, it just makes Rose look better because she's not like him.
Yeah. But I mean, when he was originally written into the story, I believe he was written in as Van Staten's son.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of things actually about this because this episode is written by Mark Shearman, is it? And by the way, it was after this episode that he must have. It must have been after this episode that he had a stroke and went into a coma. Because this is the only episode of Doctor Who that he's written, and I can't see why not. Why would he write more? Why wouldn't he? Wasn't he?
Reference Davros.
Crap companion to be dumped later on. Yeah. I mean, Russell knew that he wasn't going to stick around, so. There's actually a video out there of Stargate SG-1 versus Doctor Who, and they've got her as Osiris versus the Dalek. It's brilliant.
I think I've only seen the Stargate movie, the first one.
Oh, SG-1 was a good show, but Atlantis is my favorite. See, here's the thing. There's this scene here which is supposed to make you not like Van Staten because he's torturing the Doctor. But the Doctor
exactly.
is human, and therefore,
is this the first time in New Who that we established that he has two hearts?
I mean, it is the first time in New Who, yeah.
it kind of put me
It's
off
just a little thing, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like this episode's doing a lot.
But yeah, I mean, like human rights don't apply to the Doctor because he's not human. So, like nobody's
I mean,
saying he's a philanthropist,
Like a sentient creature who can speak English. I mean,
but he's not human.
uh,
So human rights don't apply.
that doesn't mean anything. That literally means
And
nothing. He's still a person. Like, I mean, I get where his motivation is, but he's clearly wrong, and he must
Well,
be
yeah,
that, right?
absolutely. But from
I guess
his
he just
point of
doesn't
view,
care.
he's not. That's what's good with Van Staten is from his point of view,
I
he's
don't
not.
think so. I mean, yeah, maybe.
He can justify
Like, he does mention
absolutely
later
everything.
that what he's trying to do. Yeah. That's the thing, like, I'm thinking, does this character know that he's, like, doing bad things, or does he genuinely think he's right? And I guess later on he does try to make his case to the Doc, doesn't he?
That's what's
then the
great with this
Doctor
story is the
evolves.
fact that this story is the one whereby he kind of sort of has the beginnings of changing his mind. It doesn't make him a good person, but it's in this story really where he starts off because he still thinks he's right here. It's morally shady ground,
Yeah, true, yeah.
It's
Okay.
a bit more than shady.
but he can still justify. He could legally, if you were to take Van Staten to court with a lawyer, he could still get off.
That's only because lawyers are as bent as he is.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying, if you were to legally put him into a court, he could probably get off with
yeah.
it.
My question is, does fans, like, from a character perspective, is he aware that what he's doing is wrong? Because he must be, right? Because
No,
like he's butchering
because he's
things,
not wrong. Because
and
from
he's
a
like,
legal standpoint,
like
he's
that,
not
but at
wrong.
the same time, it's just, yeah, so he just doesn't see it the same way. Like, to him, a Dalek or the Doctor aren't, like, that doesn't count, I guess.
Yeah,
As
they're not from
whatever.
Earth.
No, they're not, but he's still effectively torturing sentient life forms, which...
Yes, I know that, but again, first of all, you're dealing with the laws of Utah again, so you're not even dealing with British laws.
Yeah, which, I mean, that's a,
then you're dealing with
not to
the
disrespect
fact that
anyone
they're
in
not
Utah,
human and
but
they're not even from Earth. So it gets more and more legally muddy areas. I'm not on Utah, by the way. I'm just... Oh, by the way, I want just
I just mean, you know.
I tried to work out roughly where this place is, right? Because I sometimes get bored. So I tried to work out where exactly in Utah is this set, right? And Van Staten says that it's not far from Salt Lake City.
Mm.
Now, to me, that suggests that
Salt Lake City, yeah.
that it's just a little bit east of Salt Lake City. Because north, you end up in Idaho.
Suckering to death.
West, you end up in Nevada. So if you're anywhere, you kind of might be a little bit south or might be a little bit east. And I had a look at places around that area. And there is a place, and it was just like, it has to be there. It has to be there. There is a place in Utah that is called, check this, where's it to? It is called, and this is why it has to be there, Gobbler's Knob.
All right, we found it. We have a winner.
Are there any disused nuclear bunkers? There are a lot of caves in Utah. A lot of caves. And it's supposed to be half a mile underground, and that's not too much of a stretch. But if you're going to name a place and call it Gobbler's Knob, I'm going to set any show there.
Yeah, well, thank you. I'd let you. I'd fund that show. There's a lot of, like, I mean,
It's also the first CG
high concept
Dalek.
sci-fi show, so I get it.
What?
Whatever.
What, Chand?
I was saying there's a lot of, like for some reason, Rose, like, I get why, like it's told because like she's a time traveler, so she touches it,
Yes.
and that like energy or whatever that she just has rejuvenates it, right? Daleks
Yes.
are time travelers as well, so I can kind of buy that. I don't understand how absorbing the internet just fixes all the metal, but
It
I
doesn't.
get
It uses the
maybe
energy.
it's just I'm not supposed to think about it. It's a sci-fi thing.
It's not. It's
Yeah,
absorbed. So you're using
Whatever.
electricity.
It's an alien metal. I don't get it.
It's using electricity. It's using energy. It's literally powering itself. It's charging its batteries. It's made of memory metal, Dalekanium. Without energy, it can't fix. It can't repair.
It's got me there. I love the death rate effect as well.
It's not that high of a concept, to be honest with you. Now then, one of the soldiers here, one of the commander, is an actor named Joe Montana. Now, to be honest with you, he should have changed his name. Because when somebody says Joe Montana, I'm thinking of the quarterback from the 49ers. The legendary quarterback. Like he should have made that leap and just gone, I'm just gonna change my name.
I remember seeing that scene where it just turrets and kills all those guys first time, and it just blew me away. I was like, whoa.
Again, it's what they done well with this episode, and yeah, that's CG.
Yeah, I know.
Also, the other thing that's new with these Daleks as well is the fact that you don't have to turn your head to operate the top. It was actually a remote control.
Yeah, like the middle section can spin, and then the
No, but that's pretty fixed. The guy inside is a guy named Barnaby Edwards who
right.
Dalek operating, but the top was on a remote control, so he could actually rotate all the way around. And the eye stalk, he didn't have to operate that from himself.
I guess they had to do the stairs bit, didn't they?
They did, but again, they did it in remembrance, which is the last time they'd done it, and this is the first time they did it. So
yeah, but I mean, if you're bringing it back, you know, you have to be like, all right, here's what nobody's seen these things before. Address it straight away.
No, they literally wanted to show that because people were taking the piss out of Daleks.
Yeah, for a long time. There's so many cartoons, weren't there?
Yeah, and they wanted to literally just go, screw you. That's what I mean. They took it seriously. They went, no, you got no chance. If you go onto YouTube, there is when talking about bringing back Doctor Who, there is I think it's Good Morning Britain do it, where they talk about all the different. They talk about Spielberg bringing back Doctor Who, and they talk about the fact that one of the companions was going to be Pamela Anderson. But you can hear the way the presenters are talking about it, about wobbly sets and all this stuff, and they just literally just shitting all over it. Like, pardon my language, but that's what they do it. And
I just got a record this week. Hey, you're first.
I know. I apologise.
It's normally me.
Worth noting as well, as we get into this bit, that most of this is filmed at the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff. This is all Millennium Stadium. I know it's called Principality, so I will never call it that. Not ever.
Even though you just did, by the way.
No, I didn't. I stopped calling it the stadium. I just stopped halfway through.
I'm going to check that on playback.
You can. I said Principality, but I didn't say stadium.
You just said it then again.
I know. Two different pieces. Two different parts. There were other words in between.
Prove anything.
There it is, Joe Montana over there.
Oh, Karen. No, on repeat viewings, I am blown away by just how many people this thing just murders in the episode. Like,
that's
straight kills, you know what I mean? And like these poor guys, they're about to get. I mean, I don't think you ever see it do it in this way as well.
As for the episode itself, though, I mean, technically, you'd kind of call this a bottle episode because there's really,
yeah, 100%. I mean, it's only
not many
one location, really.
I mean, there are a couple of the vault is a set. Van Statten's office is a set.
Sure.
Yeah, but yeah, a lot of this, all the corridors and stuff like that, are Millennium Stadium with bits added, like the doors. Yeah, that.
Also, I love how that guy gets to have like maximum hubris before the Dalek takes him out.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like, oh yeah, no, I can fight one thin robot, and then I can just hear like the ironic music playing, you know.
So
nice little bit.
Van Stan's office there now has that screen on the wall, right? This big widescreen TV monitor, and then on his desk, there he's got this crappy transparent computer screen, and it bugs the hell.
Well, I mean, it was. I guess it's like shorthand sci-fi. You know what I mean? Like, it's not too distant future. Like, this was 6 years in the future when it came out.
7, it would have been 2005 to 20.
Yeah, sure, yeah. It's really great, I think, at illustrating how smart this thing is, and you never really see any of that anymore.
No,
you know?
But it's not only that you don't see how smart they are anymore, but you don't see how dangerous they are anymore.
Exactly.
I mean,
I think it's the only time you ever see it like, oh, okay, I'm going to use my environment to my advantage, you know?
But I mean, the visual effects for 2005 for the Dalek is actually pretty good.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I mean, and they must have.
I'm just thinking the depth effect. They changed it
off the photographs for off the prop. There are things that they still haven't got right, which is stuff that is a nightmare in CGI anyway, like aluminium. The aluminium tends to be too white. It's just like too bright. It looks like chrome instead of aluminium. Yeah, I guess it's just throw in that little explanation just to clarify for people like Chandler how it managed to regenerate.
Right. If it makes for an amazing episode, I'm fine with it. I don't care. I genuinely think this is probably one of the most brilliant things I think they could have done with a Dalek. You know, this whole thing that's like this, basically fascist killing machine, and then so it's the only one left. What does it do now? You know what I mean?
Well, I think
whole idea of like, and it's also
when you're
kind
bringing
of like
them back,
painted and this.
When you're bringing them back, as for how you deal with the enemy. Normally, when you have a good guy and a bad guy, normally you have a spot where they have to talk. You normally have a point where at some point they have to face each other and actually just talk it out. They put the point of view.
That's a great line, that, isn't it?
Yeah. When they done the filming of that, you can see like when he yells, "Why don't you just die?" He gets a bit of spit on his lip. and they noticed it. They pointed it out. They told him. They told Chris Eccleston, "You've got spit on your lip, and we need to redo the take." And Chris Eccleston said, "No, leave it in." They said, "It looks disgusting." He said, "But what he's saying is disgusting. So leave it in."
Well, that's just pure anger, isn't it? Like that's real.
Well, again, he was saying what he was saying was not in sort of almost character with the Doctor. It was just he was saying something disgusting, so it was just like, no, leave it in. The CG is pretty.
Well, I mean, that's why he's paid the big bucks to be a big actor. I wouldn't have thought that.
You come with a one button click again.
We love them.
Yeah, bloody love that cliche. Good stuff.
Why would
We've
you
got
do
this
it?
massive, like, multi-ton bulkhead tied to the enter key of a keyboard. Come on, Rose, run! Actually run! There's things at stake. No, it's fine. Just keep on lightly jogging. Fine. You'll be fine.
There's a Paul Scent of the future right there.
Oh. I mean, I don't think anybody at this point was like, how she's going to die.
I don't think so either, but, I mean, she could have. Like, I mean, it would have been a lot darker if that's the direction they went in.
I mean, they could have killed her, right? Because she'd been in 6 episodes by now, and the normal runtime for a companion is anywhere between 6 episodes to a couple of seasons. So it has been known to happen. But I don't think anybody was looking at the cast here and going, "Oh."
I've seen people watch this for the first time, and I've never seen that trick anywhere.
The gun noise from
It
the
could
fake.
be, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Weird. It's the wobbling.
For some reason, before we put this episode on, this scene was the one scene that I was thinking of, and I don't like. I just think it's like a really.
It's a good scene.
I don't know.
But
Could be the.
but again,
could be the.
with Van Staten there, it's he literally doesn't want to get anybody killed. It's not that he doesn't care.
Yeah, you can kind of see it when he realizes that he's like a look on his face. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Maybe it's just the fact that he's supposed to be this kind of elitist guy. He doesn't get it. Like he's like, you know, those guys are expendable. The Dalek's unique. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. And I'm like, what do you expect to happen?
Yeah. Ian says he never liked the woman you love line. Yeah, I don't like that either. I think it should have been the person you care about or something like that. He clearly, because the Doctor clearly cares for her.
Well, it's the Dalek. Well, you could argue it's the Dalek misinterpreting or like not really understand. I don't think it. You know, you might be using the word love in that like a romantic sense, but just like I don't know.
See, now here's the thing, right? Staten is correct. Like, no, don't do it.
Yeah, no, fair, yeah. I mean, that's how the Dalek wins, I guess, or at least in that situation.
Speaking of the Dalek winning, so in this episode, the Doctor uses the line, "How about that? I win," which is a line from Last of the Time Lords, where the Master says, "How about that? I win." There's lots of callbacks.
The hairdryer joke in this always cracked me up. I don't know why. It's just really like
Because it's funny.
Yeah.
it's easy, but it.
Because
Yeah.
why wouldn't aliens have hairdryers?
I want to know where he got that thing from. Like, what the hell is that?
Goes to show how far underground they actually are. They at level 20. Like, this always made me laugh. The idea of a Dalek in a lift. I don't know why. We never have. The image of a Dalek in a lift just makes me laugh.
Didn't make me laugh.
They do it in Dalek to Manhattan as well. And I think they do it in Doomsday as well. They put Daleks in lifts a lot in the show.
She left that a bit late.
And I get the whole eye for an eye thing, but I think he should have done it. I'm saying, like, 100%, I'm in the wrong, I get it, but I think he should have done it. Wham.
Yeah, all this is Millennium Stadium. Level 1.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually the West Gate, I think.
Let the Lord's light shine on you. A Ben Simpsons movie? No?
I think we get a repeat shot in this. So the Dalek opens up, and there's you get to see the Dalek for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's a repeat shot, because I think what happens is that you can see the slime dripping off the Dalek, and when it cuts back to the Dalek, it does it again.
I find it really interesting that instead of going for a fully CG, there's a lot of CG in this episode, and most of it hasn't aged very well. But the fact that they decided to go for this sort of like puppet with this like weird goo on it and make it this practical thing, I think really helps it like hold up. You know what I mean? I still think it looks good, even if the outer shell.
The thing is with CGI is that it's a lot easier to do hard objects than it is to do soft. So, and biological is incredibly hard.
Yeah.
It always looks better when it's physically there.
Yeah. And I mean, like,
I think like it could have been a lot worse if they'd have gone the CG route with this.
No, because first of all, there's the time factor, because they haven't got a massive team on this. People forget that. People forget that the visual effects team working on Doctor Who at this point amounts to about 6-7 people.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. Like, I understand that. I just think, like, I could see them doing it, and I'm glad they didn't. That's what I'm saying.
Because they didn't have the option.
Yeah, sure.
They didn't have the option. It wasn't like, how are we going to make this Dalek real? Are we going to make it CGI? And the CGI guys would have gone, no, you're not.
Got the little head pulse thing. Weird. Great, but it's weird.
What I like with the Dalek puppet is you can see the other eye in the mouth. So if you look out there, you can see the eye on the left hand side there. You can see
Yeah,
the mouth.
like the shriveled up one. Yeah.
So you can see the face of the Carlet. So
Ew.
right there you can see. Left eye's closed and so is the mouth.
It just looks wrong, and I know that's the ultimate irony of the Daleks. Thinking they're the ultimate race in the universe when actually they're this gross mutated like abomination in a shell filled with hate, and I like it. You know what I mean? But
I think that's the point, isn't it?
great.
Yes.
It's good
If
stuff.
if you've watched like Genesis of the Daleks, they start out as human, and then they've become this over time.
Yeah.
I think that's the point. They've hammered it home well.
It was the final mutation, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Sounds a little bit on the nose, but yeah.
But yeah, you can see the eye, the other eye there to the left of the other eye and the mouth below it.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was an ugly swine. Interesting to note as well, because they didn't know that they were they had the rights to make the Daleks, because they didn't have permission from the Terry Nation estate. This original story was written with the creature actually being the Togglefing.
Was it really?
Yeah,
The creature being the what?
Togglefing
Oh, okay.
from Sound of Drums and
Wow. What a reusing idea. Yeah. The spear things with the humans in them.
yeah.
Crazy. I don't know how I feel about that big, like the balls come off the side and then blow them up. I mean, I guess like it's good to explain why they are there on the design. Just seems kind of, I don't know, maybe it's not if it's basically indestructible armor. It just seems impractical to surround yourself with like just a bunch of whatever the hell that is.
There you are, another nice wide
Couldn't
open
have happened
shot.
to a nicer guy.
Museum. There's the egg.
Yeah, and then there's the line, I win.
See,
I'd be kicked out of parties the same way, you know. Wake up.
Van Staten here at the end, where they wipe his memory dump him by the side of the road. It's really not dealing with the moral situation properly, now, is it? Because they're dealing with one morally shady character with another morally shady action.
I'd like to believe that she will do a better job. I think, I'm just going to accept the fact that he deserves it and then just not think about it ever again.
That's the problem. When you say he deserves it, you're on the side of the Doctor. And the Doctor is technically wrong.
Look, I wouldn't have done it, but it couldn't happen to a nicer guy, you know what I mean? I won't feel sorry for him.
There we go, and that's the end of Dalek.
Lovely.
Let me just end this.
The long game. That one there.
So that's the end of Dalek. Yeah, it's a great story, and it does a good job of bringing back the Daleks. It doesn't really bring back the Daleks. It just does a really good singular Dalek story, where you get to confront. The Doctor gets to confront his biggest enemy. But again, what he does well is the fact that he does take that moment whereby it actually separates. You couldn't put the Doctor in the same room as a fully powered Dalek, because the fully powered Dalek would just kill the Doctor outright. That's why when he does the talk back and forth at the other side of the screen, the Dalek can't kill him. But it is able to have that back and forth. And
Dalekanium.
What?
Sorry.
What? Hello?
Obviously, I mean, it's one of those things like the plot would be over immediately if you could put them in the same room together because they would just blast it. The fact that they don't, so obviously you have to work around it. And like you say, it's really cool. Like for the first time ever, you can have. Well, I mean, not the first time ever, but you can have that little back and forth. That's quite good.
The fact that how dangerous these Daleks are, that the Doctor's able to interface with the Dalek, but in this story, there's an actual. They actually go, oh well, what would happen if you put the Dalek in the same place as the Doctor? Well, it would kill him. So it's not the time they talk when it's not able to kill him is when the gun doesn't work, and then the other time that they meet then is when he's been polluted. So the Daleks, on 3 occasions when the Dalek and the Doctor have talked, the Dalek couldn't kill him, it couldn't kill him, and it couldn't kill him. So it just makes it very, very interesting. Again, I like all the characters in this, all of them. They like Anna Plowman. Again, she is a great actress. Does a lot of theatre, more than TV. Again, it's a shame that she's done so many other things, but most people just know her as Osiris from SG-1. But anyway, Chris, now you've seen the episode again, what do you think of Dalek?
Well, I think my lack of taking part in a lot of conversation there probably speaks for itself. I was drawn into it again. It's brilliant. I love the way that they've. I really like the gold Daleks as much so that I've got one on a shelf somewhere, a pretty small one. I like the story. I like the way it's built up. The reveal was good. They should have called it. I think they should have called the episode something else, because obviously it gives it away right at the beginning.
I believe the original filming slate for this was a riff on Return of the Jedi, because I think it was called something like Star Harvest or something like that.
All right.
So, and like when they were filming Return of the Jedi, they called it Blue Harvest. So I think that they didn't want to give the name of the episode away, because obviously, I think you're right. They could have called it Nemesis, or they could have called it something like that. But I think, like at this point when they were making the show, because they originally wanted to slate this as the premiere episode, but Russell T Davies kind of went, no, let's push it back. Let's let the first half of the series handle itself. Let's use this as a tentpole. And by God, did it work? Because you're talking, I think it was like 8.5 million viewers for Doctor Who, and that's 8.5 million viewers in the middle of the series. And normally you start off strong and end strong, and there's normally a dip. Whereas they use this to literally tempo to push it up the ratings in the middle. So obviously, when they advertised the return of the Daleks, people were like, "Well, are we watching that?" And they did. So now that you've seen it again, Chan, what do you think? Or not?
Yeah. No.
Are you on a delay or something?
It's the kind of. Yeah, no, there's a little bit of lag on my Wi-Fi here. It's probably still, I think, my favorite Dalek episode of the new. Yeah, I'd say I'd go that far. I don't know if I like it more than Remembrance, but it's got a lot of themes in it that I think are really strong. And the fact that it's just threatening all the way throughout it really helps with the like buying into the episode, and then like the suspense throughout it. Like this, from like the second it gets out of that age that it could kill everything in that building, and that is like a level of threat that you don't see with the Daleks anymore.
No, you don't.
And even then, back in the classic era, even then, you see a million of them. You know what I mean? And I think it's actually an interesting thing where it's like this series decides to go one Dalek, and then by the end of the season go loads of Daleks, like 200,000 Daleks or whatever, because it's like you get to see what a Dalek can do by itself. and then we have the stakes and go, okay, now there's a bunch of them. You know what I mean? So it's like, that I think that's a really effective stakes raising like method. I think obviously calling it Dalek probably helped a lot with the marketing, which is why they did it. I kind of agree. But from my perspective, the first time I watched this, I didn't know what a Dalek was. And after watching this, I think it was my favorite creature in Doctor Who probably for a long time. So
it's a very, I mean,
definitely effective.
Daleks are very, dangerous, as are most Doctor Who villains, Cybermen. I think what works really well with this Dalek design is the fact that this Dalek isn't too far away from how it was in 1963, and it's. I mean, they call it blinged up, but again, it looks a little bit more heavy, a little bit more armored. Things a little bit chunkier on it. Where you think that they might smooth things out, they've actually doubled down on. Actually, no, we go in the other direction and making things a little bit more hard edged. There's a lot of bolts, a lot of rivets. There's a lot of.
A bit more rustic as well.
It's very heavy duty. It makes it look like a wrought iron bridge. So it's really this.
But I think visually, like from visual storytelling, I think that is important. You know what I mean? To make it like sell to this thing.
Well, I mean, there are things that they could have done to make it look like, for example, they haven't tried to hide the fact that the things flashing on top are light bulbs. There's no. They haven't tried to go in the other direction. They haven't tried to streamline it. They could have made it really slick, really curvy, all. They could have done that, but they didn't. They fairly much stuck with the only adjustment I know of that they really made to the Dalek design was in terms of size, because they wanted, first of all, a person to be able to fit inside one, and they wanted it to be able to look eye level with Billy Piper. So they made it, if anything, they made it just a little bit taller, a little bit bigger. Ian says, wasn't there an early plot with the Dalek creature loose on a spaceship, pretty much like Alien? I mean, if there was, we saw it at the New Year's resolution. I think that's pretty much what that is there. Which, again, is not a bad plot as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, the original story. So how this episode actually came about was that Russell T Davies actually, there was an audio book written by Mark Sheeman called Jubilee. And it's basically this story. It's basically this. So he asked him to write Dalek and write this. But what he asked him to write was, we don't know if we can get a Dalek, so write with the Toclafane instead. So that's how it came up. But when the nation estate turned around and went, yeah, it's okay, you can use the Dalek, once all the legal chicanery was settled, they were just pretty much went with this. And I think, there's a couple of things. Oh, by the way, just so you know, Henry Van Statten's original name was William Fence, which was a play on Bill Gates. But they decided not to do it. He had another name as well, but I can't remember what it was. But Russell T Davies felt that it was unpronounceable, so he ended up with the Henry Van Statten name. Again, very memorable characters, and it's what you get out of season one is memorable characters. And again, it's why I would bring that character back, because, like, imagine this guy gets his memory back now after having a memory wipe. We don't know the method of memory wiping that he's used. We know that the tortured one has said that, if you get your memory back, you can't lose it again. But once retcon is worn off, it's worn off. So I can only imagine how annoyed this guy would be at the Doctor from having this done to him. When you think about it, think about it from Van Statten's perspective, and this guy is just like, he's gone there to celebrate his birthday and has ended up having the whole shit hit the fan because this invader came in and had kicked everything up, placing their moral values on. It's like, imagine if you were in your house and then somebody kicks the door open and then causes a whole lot of crap. So how would you
In fairness,
react?
the Doctor pretty much does that. Like, that's his thing.
That's what I mean. But look at it from Van Statten's point of view. When Van Statten's not doing anything that is technically illegal, so if you look at it from his point of view, the fact that, can you imagine what would happen if a guy like him got his memory back? Because I dare say he had more than one bank account. He was a genius guy. He even says so in the show. So, and like that's why I would bring him back, is because this is a character that deserves another round with the Doctor.
Joining forces with Sir Lenny Henry, as we said.
If they can come
Oh, thank you for bringing it up. Sir Lenny Henry said on Saturday morning, he was on BBC TV, that David Tennant and Catherine Tate are getting back together for the upcoming a night in, big night in. What are they doing? The comic relief big night in. So I thank you for mentioning it. He was on BBC on Saturday, on BBC News on Saturday morning, and he said that David Tennant and Catherine Tate are getting back together for that episode. So, and I think that's going out on Monday. Is it, or is it the 24th? Somebody have to Google the big night in to see what date it is.
Isn't there a couple of others on there with him as well? I'm sure I saw something about that.
I don't know, but I literally, when you said about Lenny Henry, then it just a big night in. What I just typed in. Yeah, Vicar of Dibley's coming back.
Vicar of Dibley's coming back.
Yeah, Thursday, the 23rd of April. Big night in. BBC One. Comic Relief and Children Need join forces to deliver a special night in of television hosted by Lenny Henry and Matt Baker. Yeah, so they're doing this, another Vicar of Dibley. But yeah, Catherine Tate. So Thursday the 23rd. I believe that is.
Vicar of Dibley's not going to be the same without Alice in it.
No,
but not at all.
But yeah, I mean the fact that they're doing this thing for Comic Relief Children in Need, getting together for what's happening with the current situation in the world.
Yeah.
And the fact
says here for the watch along, they're going to be joined by Russell T Davies and Graham Harper.
Oh, cool! I mean that's excellent stuff. So that's some good stuff there. I don't really know if there's anything more that we can really say about this episode, really. It was a cheap budget episode, for sure. It literally had like 3 sets and 1 prop. Probably the most expensive thing there was probably the visual effects. The visual effects, by the way, still look good. They're not bad.
For a second. Don't want to put a damper on what we were just talking about, but apparently the Stolen Earth and Journey's End watch along was on Sunday the 19th of April at 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock respectively.
That's okay. That's fine.
I mean, technically we have the internet.
We have our own watch along, and we'll get to those episodes anyway. It's not like we're not going to get them. Right out loud. We've been doing this for over a year now. I mean, it's we go, and don't forget we're going to be going back. I think I don't know. It's up to you. But I think after we finish series 1, maybe we'll pick a classic series and do a classic run. So I don't know if anybody's got any thoughts on that.
Oh, I'd love to do that.
Yeah. So I mean, we can pick a show. I just want to have a quick look here because next week is the long game. So that's long game, Father's Day. I'm going to say something now that's going to make probably a few people annoyed here. But you know the episode Father's Day?
Yeah.
I'm not overly keen on it.
I love Father's Day.
I like out of all of series 1's episodes, the good, the bad, and the indifferent, Father's Day is the one I watch the least. It's not one of my favorites.
I mean, I think you're objectively wrong, but that's fine.
Yeah, no, look. Here's the thing, right? The side by side. If you look what's either side of Father's Day, you've got the long game, and then the next episode after that is the empty child. Like, you can't tell me that. Like, I get it, I understand it. Why some people would, because it's not like it's a bad story. It's just, I'm okay with it. Maybe going back and revisiting it I might see things differently. But I mean, we just come off Dalek, right? And the next episode is the longest game. I like the long game as an episode because it introduces the idea of Satellite 5 and then what happens, the progression that leads to Part of the Ways. It starts filling in some blanks and starts introducing some new ideas, and whereas I think Father's Day is that's kind of an episode that you can place almost anywhere. It's like you could put it at any point throughout the series. I don't think it doesn't really,
to an extent, I suppose.
Well, I mean, Dalek has to be placed here because it's before the return of the Daleks.
I just think there's more drama in it. Like the long game is kind of weak. There's not really a lot going on from my memory anyway. I don't like game, and I think Unquiet Dead are probably the two episodes I rewatched the least because they're just kind of meh.
Yeah, but with the long game is setting things up for the finale.
It's also teaching you why you shouldn't abuse.
I understand that.
Technology and time travel and that as well, isn't it? The long game.
Yeah. I mean, it's got the whole trapdoor in the head thing, and it's got all the editor and the power of just listening to the media without thinking for yourself, and it's got all that in it. It's good. There's a lot of good themes in the long game, but it's ultimately starting to ramp up to the show. Whereas with Father's Day can be placed anywhere in the season. You could have put it at the second episode. You could put it at the second last episode. It's really a self-contained story. I don't really think that. I mean, does it? I can't. There's nothing. Look, I'm not crapping on the episode. It's just out of all the episodes of Series 1, it's the one that I can give and take. It's just like, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I think I get what you're saying. I mean,
it's not that I'm not saying it's a bad episode.
I'm not really sure. Like, thinking about it, as a standalone story, I think it's quite strong. But I haven't seen it in a long time, so maybe I don't know.
But
I remember
what I'm saying is that if I'm sitting down and picking an episode to watch for a Doctor Who episode from Series 1, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to choose Unquiet Dead, I'm going to choose Dalek, I'm going to choose The Empty Child of the Doctor Dances.
I agree with you for the most part on that one.
So there's a lot of...
Unquiet Dead's probably the episode of Season 1 that is most... meh. It's just a bit kind of... I don't know.
It's the best one. I love it.
That's you're right.
No, because like the other episodes that I can quote that I can say like is very watchable, like Boomtown. Boomtown is a fun little episode. It's not a great episode.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, last week we done Aliens in London and World War III, and again, they were a pantomime episode. They were very pantomime. They were very pantomime. I mean, what we get with Boomtown is literally sort of Peter Pan and the Pirates. I mean, it's yeah. I mean, particularly with the restaurant scene between the Doctor and Margaret, where she goes, "Did you know this?" And he goes, "Yep, yes." And she goes, "I can also do this."
And the bloody poison in the drink.
So there's all that sort of stuff, and it's very pantomime with the Slitheen. Whereas, you get something like Dalek, which is a very serious story. And again, it goes back to what we were saying last week about how this show seems to try to touch base with every sort of genre with Doctor Who. Well, I say I don't find that with the new ones. I don't find that with any of the new ones. And again, we're talking about how dangerous the Daleks are, and why the Daleks don't seem that dangerous. Like I said before, when Wilf attacks one with a paint gun, like he should have been dead. He should have been killed outright.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, you're right, but I'm glad they didn't.
Paul Cornell wrote lots of New Adventures novels in the 90s. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of good Doctor Who stuff. Oh, by the way, just so you know, that there are Big Finish. I think there's Big Finish novels based around the character of Adam. Goes back to the Van Staten vaults, and also there's a story involving Lady Christina de Souza, who also raids the vaults.
All right.
The story is actually set off Earth. And she actually starts her own adventure by nicking technology from the vaults. Because while it says they're going to fill the place with concrete, I think they only fill the entrance with concrete. Because like it's like 40 levels underground, so half a mile deep. I think it's a lot of concrete. I think that's more concrete than Salt Lake City.
You could probably hold it.
Well, it's not his money. His money's still safe in his bank account.
Well, not anymore. Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, there are extra stories that deal with this area, deal with this situation, and offshoots that have sprung from. So there are people out there with ideas of what you could do with just this one episode. And where you could go with what is essentially a starting base for. Because I mean, like, it's not just this episode, but like with the long game follows up with oh god, no, we're asking brain. It's Bad Wolf, isn't it? Bad Wolf and Partner of the Ways follows up.
Oh, the one at the end of the season, yeah, before, yeah.
Follows up on it. Boomtown follows up. There are other follow-up episodes, you know, but there's no follow-up to this. And it's a shame. Because there's so much to mine from, and clearly there is, because so many people have. I mean,
you've got a museum full of artifacts. Every single one of them could tell a story. So,
yeah, and it's not only that, but you've got the other side of the coin here, which is a lot of people might have overlooked here, is the fact that in the UK, the equivalent would have been Torchwood. We have no US equivalent. Like there's in the UK, you've got Unit, which, and I mean, obviously Unit are international, but we also got Torchwood. America has nothing like that, which is insane. There should be like not an American Torchwood, but there should be a US equivalent, which is not part of the Doctor Who universe.
Yeah,
but there should be, and it's the same with other divisions. Like anything that was part of the British Empire.
House 13.
Well, yeah, I mean, but anything that's part of the British Empire, you can automatically go, well, okay, that's covered by Torchwood. There's bound to be a division of Torchwood that's still there. Whereas with something like China, with Russia, with like Russia would be Men in Black. I mean, Stalin's Men in Black, so that would be covered by that sort of organization. Whereas with the US, CIA maybe. I mean, you could argue Area 51, but then they've only brought that in like once.
I mean, I feel like it's sort of implicit that they do. It's just you never see them because the show it's not aired there. And it's definitely an unmined kind of territory. But I would assume, if things like Torchwood and Unit exist. I mean, I always assumed Unit was pretty much worldwide anyway. But
yeah, Unit is, but what we're talking about here is like something like Area 51, where they've only done one episode of Doctor Who in Area 51. Well, they've done two, technically they've done two, but actually they've done one. Because they did Dreamland, which was a David Tennant cartoon but they've done one episode whereby Matt Smith's
I've seen that. I think I saw that when I was a kid. Yeah, that's crazy.
But
What a
they done the episode with the silence, which was set in Area 51, where they were all put in body bags and taken to the the TARDIS was invisible, and so, but there's no real US equivalent of the same sort of thing as Torchwood. Or if there is, we don't know about it.
Yeah, no, you've got a point.
I think Dreamland was on our one of our original lists. I think the one
It was on one of our original. We were going to do it at the same time as doing Scream of the Shalka, which obviously we did Scream of the Shalka, which was I'm so glad we did because that made me so happy. But yeah, I mean, there's lots of stuff that they could mine from Doctor Who that they just don't, and well, we've now seen Doctor Who kind of die. Well, there we are.
Well, I always thought there should be a unit TV show, but what do I know?
Yeah, no. Look, if you're going to do it, here's the thing, right? With what they've done with the spin-offs, I mean, Torchwood's not going to come back. They've tried and they've tried and they've tried.
No,
there's too much in the way of politics because it's divided between BBC, Stars, and Russell T Davies. So the options of getting those back together to do a TV show, or Big Finish Audio is a different story, but to get them back together to do a TV show is, you forget it. Eve Miles is working; she's busy doing other shows on BBC Wales. It's just not going to happen. Plus, again, BBC don't look like they're invested. They just don't look like they're invested. They don't even look like they're invested in Doctor Who. So they tried Class.
I'm totally fine with the fact that Torchwood's wrapped. Like, I'm fine with there being no more Torchwood. Like, it's great while it was on, and then, I'm fine with just leaving it be. But you could definitely, there's room, I think, in the universe, especially considering how expansive it is, to do other stuff. Like, just take ideas that they've mentioned offhandedly or even only shown a little. Like, you could do a time agency type thing if you wanted to. I guess it might be too similar to Doctor Who, but there's a lot there. You know what I mean? You
could do, but there's lots of stuff that you could do inside the Doctor Who universe. The persons that you have to convince are the heads of the BBC. That's the problem.
They're struggling to do Doctor Who right now, so
exactly.
If they do a spin-off and it's better than the main show, which wouldn't be difficult at this point.
No. I mean, look, if you were going to do... Look at it this way. If you were going to do Torchwood was a very adult... It was Doctor Who after 9 o'clock Watershed. That's what Torchwood was. Then they done Sarah Jane, which was very much for the CBeebies version. It's polar opposite to Torchwood. And Doctor Who's pretty much the show that's in the middle. 3
kind of brackets.
Yeah, so it's catering to the older audience, it's catering to the younger audience. So you've got that. So and then they done Class, which was kind of trying to go sort of in between. And Class was not Class. I mean, it just wasn't. It run for one season. It required the first episode let you know what the sort of show was when the Doctor had to show up to save everyone. It was like, holy crap, you just shit on your own characters in the first episode.
I'm genuinely not sure what the show was supposed to be.
But
like who it was going for, you know what I mean? Because it's too violent for kids, but it's a bit too kiddie for adults. Like
exactly, it was trying to be Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I'm failing miserably. And
I never watched it, so.
And don't boast because some of us did.
Yeah.
So it had interesting things. I mean, it had a guy with an atomic leg. I mean, it was just like, what are you doing? It was
how basically it was set at a high school. It's got high school children, and they're all like having sort of what you would be like, Sarah Jane Adventures sort of style stories. That kind of is the vibe. But every now and then, someone will get like stabbed, and their face will get splattered in gore. Yeah. And it's just like, what? Okay, that came out of nowhere. You know what I mean? I'm not exactly sure the show was for.
And so if you were going to do a unit show, the only way I think you could do a unit show is to make it action. Is to make it aliens.
Yeah, 100%, and I'd do it in a
And,
heartbeat.
and that's
It'd be
exactly
like,
how I would do it.
yes,
I would not do an individual episode show. I would do a unit go under a threat of one, try to tackle one situation. Like, for example, the episode at the end of the world. So unit go in and try to tackle that situation, but that'd be the entire season.
Yeah.
Because what the thing that you've got to remember is that if you were going to do an alien story, the Doctor can get around by doing an alien per week because the Doctor's clever enough. Whereas humans taking on aliens, you could take on the same alien as the Doctor, and the Doctor will get done in 45 minutes. Will take you an entire series.
Well, it's kind of like in Children of Earth in Torchwood. It takes him 5 episodes to deal with that situation by itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm thinking about it. If that was an episode of Doctor Who, he'd just show up and sort it out.
He walked in, quoted articles of the Shadow Proclamation, and kicked them out. So
press push buttons and say something kind of crazy and clever.
So you have to deal with a situation like that, and I think if you're going to do a unit show, you have to make it. First of all, you have to make it an action show, which is number one. BBC, I nearly swore again. And they're not going to do an action. BBC can't do action shows, right? Out of everything that the BBC can do well, action shows is not one. I can't name one action show that the BBC can do that makes you go, oh, they could have done that a bit better. Because they're all
not even Bugs.
Oh dear me, Craig McLaughlin. If you're going to bring up anybody, why Craig McLaughlin? Bugs was a good stab at it. Bugs was a good stab. It just didn't work.
Yeah, but actually had Canary Wolf in every outside shot.
Yeah. So the BBC just can't do action shows. I mean, the most actiony show was Professionals. The BBC?
No, that was ITV.
Was it? Okay.
Just for Chandler, Bugs was a series.
1993, 94.
Yeah, it was a mid-90s series, and it was basically a small team of people solve problems. And it involved one of them becoming an astronaut and going in space in one of the episodes. Yeah. It was so far-fetched. It's if you can find it, it's worth watching for the campness of it. It's not terrible, but it's not very good either.
No, it's not. No, it's kind of because they deal with stuff on a they use technology and things to bug. They bug things, and they use like surveillance equipment that doesn't exist and create stuff that create technology to solve the problems. It's just they decided to go with Henry from Neighbours, and his career didn't go very far. I mean, he's probably still Craig McLaughlin's probably still working now, but I mean, BBC are not very good at doing action shows. I can't think of a single action show that the BBC have done.
Yeah, let Netflix do it. Give it to somebody else.
I mean,
feel like he's the right obscure character from a sci-fi.
So there's two ways of doing something, and I think to do unit. I think that you probably might want to go with Netflix. I would actually probably go with Amazon more than Netflix, but that's because they've already got a working relationship with the BBC. I think that would be probably the best way to go.
I mean, if you could sell Miracle Day to Stars, then
but that was Russell selling Torchwood, not BBC selling Torchwood.
Sure, okay.
So, but I mean, I would think that would be more because Amazon are not going to want. Here's the thing: if you go with an American network, they're going to want you to make it in America. If you go with Amazon, they're going to go. You go make the show. We'll buy it. So you can have a more international flavor just by doing that. Whereas, again, the other thing as well is that if you do an American show, which is not, I'm not trying to crap on American shows here, because American shows, I watch a lot of American shows. I love a lot of American shows, but you're gonna find a lot of maybe American-centric stuff thrown in.
Yeah, sure.
Whereas I think that what makes Doctor Who unique is the fact that it has such a British flavour to the science fiction. And I think with
Yeah,
same
it's
thing with
extremely
Torchwood.
British. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But same thing with
Torchwood had that
Torchwood.
kind of Welsh tinge to it, you know what I mean? But it still
Yeah,
had that overall flavour.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff whereby. I mean, if I was going to do a unit, it wouldn't be set in Cardiff, that's for sure. But because it would be a much more international show. If anything, I would actually set unit on the bloody fly ship that they ripped off from Captain Scarlet.
On Valiant, yeah.
Yeah, I would set it on the Valiant. That's probably the best way to do it, because that's how you could cover the planet internationally then.
And just have Nick Fury of Shield bloody in charge.
Have you got bugs?
Yeah, I have. I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to paste it into the chat we've got going on here.
Yep.
And then Chandler can have a look. It's only 51 seconds.
It's in private chat there. So,
I don't know what's happening if I click on this link, so I'm not going to.
No, you're already breaking down as it is. So there's a lot. I think we've covered a lot. I think we've covered pretty much everything you can cover, unless anybody's got anything else to add to what we've seen this evening. I mean, yeah, there's lots of stuff in the museum that are nice little Easter eggs. One's literally an egg. I'm pretty sure. I would like to have a look, see if we can get the picture of the museum shot. So I'm pretty sure the ship on the left-hand side is the Jaggeroth spaceship. It's really difficult to see because it's kind of in shadow. But I would like to get that, to have a good look at that. Yeah, the artifacts that are there, the Roswell mileometer. Now, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that actual prop is, but I think somebody's already. So, yeah, Roswell.
I mean, I imagine they reused a bunch, but I mean, it would be kind of fun to work on the prop department and be allowed to kind of put these Easter eggs in, you know.
Yeah, so let's look. Yeah, it doesn't really say what it is. Because it's kind of. I'm just having a quick look here. There is a place, amino apps. Amino apps. I don't know what that is. Huh. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the museum scene that we see originally that like nice little callbacks to different things. Obviously, the Cyberman head is beautiful just to see that. I would like to talk about the Cyberman, given that they brought that Cyberman head in to acknowledge the classic series Cyberman. I think now is it the invasion head? Because obviously, like there are subtle.
I don't think so. I think that one's got the thin pipes. The one in.
I thought it was a Revenge of the Cybermen, but I don't think so. Because the pipes it's got on the handlebars. See, to me, it looks like an invasion Cyberman head, but with the Revenge of the Cybermen. Revenge of the Cybermen. No, it's a Revenge head. Yeah, it's a Revenge head because it's got the 4 tubes in the. the
Oh, right.
torch.
The sort of whatever that is, like a gun. Yeah. So.
Do you want me to grab a picture of it?
Yeah, no, I've got. Oh, I mean, I'm not going to right now, but yeah, I think it's a Revenge of the Cyberman head. So, Revenge head,
Sure.
yeah. Kind of Ian as well, yeah. So,
I've got
But I
a
mean-
couple of pictures of the museum
I
if
think
you
it's
want me to
interesting.
share
It's
them.
like the Cybermen so long.
yeah. Check up the museum. Check it up. We got about 10 minutes before we hit the 2-hour mark, so let's fill it with something. So yeah, check up the museum pic. Add screen. There we go. Now, if you look over on the
Everything's gone weird.
Is that better now?
yeah, I can see. I've got us three on the side, then the museum's in the middle.
Oh, hello there.
So yeah, if you look on the far left there, there's a big round thing with a round dot in the middle of it.
Yeah.
I think that's the Jaguar spaceship from City of Death. I don't know though, but
I mean, that's cool.
if you can zoom in, that helps an awful lot.
I mean, it's a fun little Easter egg, but I have no real idea what that's supposed to be.
But I mean, that's what it looks like to me.
That's about as good as it's going to get before it starts looking rubbish.
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of little things. Is that a Cyberman in the cabinet there?
I don't know. It's hard to tell, isn't it?
I think I can see a shooter behind the grassy knoll, but there as well. No, must be mistaken.
Well, that's the maximum zoom. It's a bit pixelated now, but
yeah,
it's hard to tell what that is. It does look Cybermanish.
It's got that T on the chest.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you are right. It's got the sort of V thing going on.
Like from Silver Nemesis, that sort of chest piece. Because it's even got there's a little shiny bit down by here, which is.
Yeah, it does. It does look like it. I must admit. And then there's all these weird little pedestals with stuff in as well. I'm going to zoom back out a bit. See if it makes them clearer. You have to use automatic zoom like Crichton and come in to have a look at it. Yeah, I'm not sure what that big thing is there.
Right. So the on the left hand side there, that looks like a macro claw.
Does a little bit, doesn't it? But it looks like it's also on some sort of upright bipedal body.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. I said I thought
I was going to pan across slowly.
I mean, I assume obviously the macro would have only been in the macro terror at this point.
Yeah, but it looks like. I tell you, I tell you what.
But it looks like a big rat thing.
Let's go back to the claw for a second.
Yeah.
I think it looks like the antimatter creatures from the Three Doctors.
Mm-hmm.
They've got that weird overhook claw that they also use as a gun.
Yeah, could be.
So I don't know. It's hard to see. It could be macro. It could be. I don't know. But if you look at these cases here as well, we've got like meteorites and malometers and cybermen and cyberheads.
Well, I have got another picture.
Yeah.
I think something interesting.
Aha.
I love all the Easter eggs, all the fan service. That's all great stuff. But I think they might have missed a trick on not putting in something from maybe the future of the show, like a gas mask or something like that.
Well, there's
Something
Celine on.
I don't know. It just might have been a cool little.
Celine show up in Boomtown. Again, there's that lizard snaky thing that looks like Prisoner Zero. See that head.
True. I mean, if I consider that like a head cannon, then that's thinking really far ahead.
Yeah. See the second cabinet in the one in between the malometer and the cyberhead.
This one here.
Yeah. Can you zoom in on that? Because it kind of looks like an alien head.
That's the best zoom I'm going to get. It does look a lot
Yeah,
like
it's got that kind of shape to it, but
It looks like a xenomorph
it might be an alien head.
because it's got that long dome and it's got the mouth
I mean,
open.
from this angle, it could be other things.
But it looks like we're looking at an alien head from the back with the mouth facing down towards the corridor.
Yeah, it does. It does look a bit like that, but it's
Like
also
that.
it looks like too big a mouth with teeth on it. But it's definitely got overtones of that on it.
Yeah, I see what Chris is saying.
Let's have a look on the other side of the corridor at this zoom level.
Huh.
So we got
I
a
know if it
meteorite.
was an alien head, like that's not the first time those things have showed up as Easter eggs.
Yeah, we got a meteorite. We got a Celine arm. I'm not sure what that is next to it.
Yeah, it's hard to see behind that, then, isn't it?
I know there's there's an ape head down there, further down, and then I know there is a Silurian head there somewhere as well. I'm not sure where. It's in the background, I think.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, some interesting stuff there. Yes.
Well,
Thank you for that, Chris.
That's all right. I just thought I'd grab something while we was talking for a change.
Yeah. No, we have the ability. We have the power. We just don't use it. But anyway, we come up onto the 2 hours. I don't know if anybody else got anything else to add.
I haven't got anything else to add about this, but you was talking about picking a classic series.
Yes.
I mean, I know it's your channel, so it's completely up to you. I was looking at the 1970s, and the series I would have picked, we've already done the Image of the Fendal. So I was wondering about doing series 14 if we do a classic series, because there's some great stories in that, and we should also see the crossover between Sarah Jane and Leela in that as well. And also we should see the Fourth Doctor's wood panel TARDIS, which gets overlooked. It's great.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, no, it's pretty nice. The secondary control room is pretty nice. Actually, it's one of those ones. It's probably the biggest influence on the McGann TARDIS, I would have said.
It's better than the orange dead spider with a crystal feet, Carwin.
Oh God, anything's better than that piece of. Oh, I nearly swore then. Nearly swore. I can't get over how bad things can be. When we see things of this quality, at this level, firing at that. By the way, this is the only episode of this series where you don't see the interior of the TARDIS.
Yes, true. Yeah, you don't see it at all.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, to go back and do like Tom Baker stuff, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with doing any Doctor Who. Well, almost any Doctor Who.
But if you said to me choose a series, I would probably choose series 14, because you've got, leaning forward to what I read, you've got the Mask of Mandragora, the Hand of Fear, the Deadly Assassin, the Face of Evil, the Robots of Death, and the Talons of Weng Chiang.
Yes. Oh,
Means we'll miss out on the horror of Fang.
Ooh.
Well, the Mask of Mandragora. We've actually been, Chand, to the location. We went to Pomerian. So we have photos of where that was filmed. So now I don't know if you remember this, Chand, but do you remember the old exhibit in Cardiff? Not the exhibition on the bay, but the exhibit in the Red Dragon Centre.
Yeah, kind of. I do. I've been a couple of times younger.
Yeah. You would have been about 8 years old, I think.
I vaguely remember a couple of bits about it.
Yeah, it was both great and also heartbreaking, and it was because it was the worst museum I've ever seen. In terms of it was kind of like, when you go into a fairground and they go, this is an exhibition, and it was kind of like that. But it wasn't really a really well done exhibition until they done the main one. But when I went there
Sure.
just after series 1. And the things that they had in series in the exhibit in series after series 1 were the Dalek, the balloon from the Empty Child. They had some Patrick Troughton stuff. They had a section of TARDIS wall, full TARDIS wall, and they had one of the original TARDIS props, which was on a turntable, which was just spinning around in the corner. They had because I had gone there after the second series because I know they had the big handle levers for the Torchwood Tower. You know, the ones that Rose and the Doctor are holding on to when she falls through the thing.
Oh yeah, the ones she's hanging off of, yeah.
To see those in person was like, really? And they put this on TV? Because like they were really bad. They were really bad. They were literally, you know, the big power cable spools. You know, the huge ones, the industrial ones that they roll off the back of a wagon. They were literally one of those chopped in half with a broom handle. I'm not making this up. A broom handle with a motorbike brake lever on top of it. And that's what it was. And it was just like, it didn't look like that in the show.
I can respect that. I can really respect that. That is some guerrilla style TV.
And it was on a hinge. We weren't connected to anything. It was just on a hinge. So if you just pushed it, it just went dunk. Dunk. There's no resistance here whatsoever. It just did.
That's not as threatening. That's not as dramatic, I should say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I mean, they had some nice things there. Like, you know, like I said, they had the balloon, which was only about a meter long. The balloon from Empty Child, the one that Rose hangs from. They had some other stuff there. But I mean, like, what was good was they had the Dalek there, and the Dalek was really, really nice because what they had done with the Dalek was that they put it on it was up on a platform, and they had this button that you pressed it, and the eye stalk lit up, and it fired the gun. And it was because it's a motorized head, it would actually move the head as well when you weren't using it. It was just moving about. So it was very nice. We haven't got anything like that.
You were lucky, mate. You were lucky. Cool. I'm sure I've told you this before. We took my boys to a Doctor Who exhibition in Hertford, a little museum called Hertford Museum, which is great for like natural history type stuff, and that's tiny. And they had this Doctor exhibition there, and we didn't get. Colin Baker was there one day. We didn't get to see him. Yeah. We went there, and from a distance, someone had built a full-size police box, TARDIS, just the outside of it, and the inside was kind of painted a bit like the 9th, 10th Doctor interior. But it weren't bad until you got up close to it when it was closed, and there was nails sticking out, and there was lumps of scrappy wood. And there was someone had made a homemade 70s style Dalek there. And one of my boys dressed up as Tom Baker, and I felt like delousing him after he'd taken the wig off. From a distance, it was good. So think yourself lucky. You got to see these things. when we lived in Hertfordshire, the Hertford one, it was a bit crap.
I didn't. We never got, because we were going to go to the Cardiff one. Probably, we were going to go there the summer it closed, and we didn't go. And so we never got to see the inside of that exhibition, which is a shame. But I went to the Longleat one, and I went to that as a kid, which was both great and disappointing. Because it was great that I went there, but the things that always plagues me. For example, we got there, and to go into the exhibition in Longleat, you went through the TARDIS to get in there. But if you Google it, you'll see exactly my point, right? The TARDIS at Longleat was 20 foot tall.
Yeah, you showed us pictures of that last year sometime, yeah.
And it bugged me, because it was just like, this is not how big the TARDIS is supposed to be.
It's not bigger on the outside.
Yeah, exactly. That was my problem. It was They made it big enough so that you could go through the door, and there was a cashier point inside, so you could pay to go into the exhibition. So it wasn't police box size; it was like double the size of a police box. And then when you went into the actual exhibition, then you walked in and you had the classic interior TARDIS of 360 degrees. But in the roundels, they had the pictures of all the doctors, which I thought was like, okay, that's great. They used them as picture frames. That's fine. You pressed a button and one of the doors would open, and you'd have like Davros or something up on the this like pillar platform thing, which I thought was pretty cool as well. Except the doors never worked, so they always stayed open. And then when you turn around and then looked at the TARDIS console, it was a TARDIS console, just not one that's appeared in the show. So, from a kid's point of view, I was like, this is awesome and crap at the same time. But, I mean, like, I'm looking at it from the point of view of the fact that I also went to the Llangollen exhibition. And the Llangollen exhibition was probably the best one I've ever been to, in fairness to it. But, hang a sec. Let me just show you. Yeah, Longleat. Doctor Who exhibition Longleat. There we go. So I'm gonna show you what I mean by what bugged me with
excuse me.
Nah, I'm going to.
What?
Oh, come on.
Got a bit of hay fever going on there, Chandler.
So I'm going to show you now some of the things that I was just wrong with the exhibition, right? And it's not wrong. It was just one of those things that just bugged me, right? So if I go over here and screen share, application window, boom, there we go. So now should be looking at the there. That's what I mean. See that TARDIS there? Oh, damn it! Look at it.
Look, yeah.
Even as a kid, I was looking at that going, that's not right.
Give it a minute.
There's a bit on the large side.
But that's how you got in. That's how you got into the exhibition, like.
Oh, can I? Whoa. That's quite big.
But it's just wrong. Like it's.
See, I'm just
I mean, bless them for trying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. Look, I fully accept. I can see what they're doing. But why didn't they just have a normal sized police box as the entrance and have the paid cash point on the inside? Like,
I don't know. Maybe they thought it was a bit more grandiose. Who knows?
But this is the inside look. This is what the inside looked like, and it was nice. It was great. But what the hell is this? What is that in the middle? It's a console.
I mean, really kind of cool. You know what I mean? But it's not quite.
Well, that's my problem with it. Is the fact that it was like 80%. Everything was 80%.
Except for the TARDIS on the outside, which was 170%.
Yeah. You had some really like nice stuff in there. Like I said, when you had like these, you can't really see it, but these panels here, look, with like viewing platform. Oh, is it a good view of it? It's not really, but you get these things. No, there's no. But it was a pretty good exhibit. It's just the fact that it was both great and crap at the same time.
Yeah, like it's almost kind of cool.
No, but here's the thing, right?
It seems like a big gap.
What you can't see, right, is like, how can I put it? Like, so when you get into Longleat, you got all these other different things at Longleat as well, like the maze and all this stuff, right? And the safari park and all this stuff. So you're walking around and then you go, there's the TARDIS over there. So you're like, oh, let's go.
Yeah.
And you get it close and you're going, it's bigger than I thought. and it's still in the distance.
Bigger on the outside, yeah.
And then you get up to it, it's like, how tall was Tom Baker?
Well,
Because
well, if we brought you over to him, I guess it served a purpose.
No, but you knew how tall like somebody was because you'd seen him come out through the doors. So they'd open the door and step on the TARDIS, and you see Tom Baker, and he's nearly up to the top. You know? And I knew whether, he was as tall as nearly one of the windows. And of course, you look up at the window on this bloody thing, Jesus, what do you have, his knees extended? And so, but yeah, I mean, that's what,
It's when you see it on TV, I mean, life is never exactly how you expect.
Would you prefer the Sky-Ray Lolly console? I'm not sure. Which wait a sec. I've got a feeling I know which one you're about. It's almost as bad, isn't it? It's
You'll have to show us because I don't know what it is.
It's the console from like a Dalek. It was promotional. It's on YouTube. It is. It's for Wall's. You remember Wall's Sky-Ray Lolly? The rocket.
Vaguely.
You still buy them. But they did a TARDIS console, and it's not. It's really not. I'm going to try to share it. Share screen, application window. What have I done? What have I done?
Only you can answer that.
Huh. It's not. Doesn't appear to be showing it. I'm not sure what you're seeing.
Well, that still says Doctor Who Longleat on there.
Okay. That's not even open.
Give it 20 minutes for my internet to actually kick in, and then actually. Oh, no.
I mean, the visual effects don't look bad. Right, let me open this up in a new window to see, because it could be a limitation of. There we go. I've got to share this like this. Come on, you can do it. You
just gotta believe.
It's just my computer's having a mare trying to stream out, stream in. It's trying to do. There it is. Let's go back.
Oh, hello.
There's the console. The dreamy thing.
Yeah, that's certainly different.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good enough, I suppose.
I mean, you say that, but it is unmistakably a TARDIS console.
Yes. No, I look. It's like with the Longleat one. It's just not horrible. It's just not right. That's the problem. It's that it's not. It's the same with the outside. If the outside doesn't look like it does in the show, I'm one of those. I was one of those kids that just like it bugged me because I was never what like. Here's the thing, right? You know, you're the cartoon series Transformers.
Yeah.
Right. Well, as a kid, you could get the toys, and the toys matched the cartoon. Optimus Prime looked like Optimus Prime. Bumblebee looked like Bumblebee. Megatron looked like Megatron. Starscream looked like Starscream. All these things, all of it, except for Ravage. because Ravage couldn't fit inside Soundwave. And it drove me spare. And I just can't. Yeah.
I mean, you think they do that?
Well, it's not my fault. And I had Metroplex, and I loved Metroplex, but Metroplex was a Transformer City. But he wasn't scale-wise correct to Optimus Prime, because otherwise Optimus Prime was going to be a bloody skyscraper.
Well, I mean, I'll have to take your word for it. I'm a couple of years older than you, so I just missed Transformers for having them as a 12 or 13-year-old or whatever.
Yeah. It just bugged the hell out of me. Just absolutely bugged the hell out of me. But things like that have always bugged me. And so when I see something it's the same when I see somebody who has put up they've built their own TARDIS, right? And they've done it in the back garden and it's great. And they go, oh, is it? What do you think? And I gotta bite my tongue. I can't tell them what I think, because usually what I think is it's good until you've got to the top where you're bugging it up. I mean, they spend a long time, but it bugs me because they spend a long time doing it, and there's something off. You look at it and you go like, it's almost, but you need to do this and you need to correct that and you need to change this and you need to move that up a bit and move that out a bit, and it just
I'll tell you what, it wouldn't be Sunday if I couldn't get you to have a Welshman rant.
It's just one of those things. It's always bugged me. I'm a stickler for that. This has to match. This is how we were talking. You wouldn't know this, Chris, but me and my boy were talking the other day, and I was pointing out little differences between the Knight 2000 and the model car, because it doesn't look the same as the studio car. So when they do the model shots in the show, you can tell it's the model because it looks like the model. And I can tell the difference between the model car and the real car. It's because it just bugs the hell out of me. So yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much all I've got. If you've got anything more to add, feel free to add it now, because I think we're going to bring this stream to an end.
No, I think we've pretty much covered everything.
Hashtag make the Daleks badass again.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
If that's dying, I have no idea.
Accurate, I would be very ungrateful and probably grumpy. Yeah, it's just one of those little things. It's just one of those. If you're selling something at something and it's not quite there, I think it's just because at the end of the day, you're buying something that they sell on TV, and it's never as good as it is in the advert. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no other real way of putting it, but there we are.
You're in the territory of a Big Mac in a picture and a Big Mac in life.
Yes. If you go to look at a McDonald's Big Mac in the window on the picture sign, it's like, oh, that looks lovely, and then you get it. It's like, did this go through a tumble dryer first?
Of course, we should state that other fast food chains are available.
Yes, and they're all equally as bad.
Just not at the moment.
Yeah. Right then, we're going to call this quits. We're going to end the stream. Stay on after the broadcast. We shall see you next week for... I've just knocked my mod off.
The long game.
It's going to be even longer than that. This Planet Earth Dalek, on the other hand... Let me just... For some reason, it's not showing. Okay. Yes. See, I can display Ian's stuff on screen as well, by the way. Just to let you know that I do have the ability. I just haven't been doing it. Oh. Sorry, Ian.
See, if you were to do that, that would save me having a tablet there, having a phone here.
No, we've had the ability to do it all the time. We just haven't done it. Sorry, Ian. Thank you very much. Anyway, that's it for Dalek this week. Hope you had a good time. I've had a good time.
Yeah, definitely.
It's the long game. join us again next week, 8 o'clock.
Lovely.
Doctor Who.
See you later.
Thank you for having me.